Robyn Hood, the finale, the one that's got to follow this. If you saw that coming, you're a liar, and this... Last episode approached the peak. This could be perfect television! So with one more left in the chamber, one final episode to go, can directorx finish his masterpiece on a high note, somehow ascending beyond the genius of episode 7? Or are we gonna go out like a damp squib? Let's find out, shall we?
After I have them, what does it matter? They have nothing left to fight for.
I don't know about that, mate. They've been fighting over a degenerate cesspool for 2 months at this point. They're more than happy to wallow in the ashes of civilization.
We had this epic sword fight on my bed till we scratched up the ceiling.
I'm sorry, what? What do you think sword fighting is? You're meant to be attacking the person in front of you, not the pissing ceiling that you can barely reach because you're little tiny kids. You must have been really awful at sword fighting if you missed the person so much you hit the ceiling.
We thought Mom would be so mad. Jill tried to color it over with crayon.
I'm not being funny, but she did a terrible job. You can clearly see where they are. Did you at least try and use a white crayon? I mean, come on.
But Mom just said, a house without scars isn't really a home.
Well, that explains a lot about the degenerate cretin you've grown up into then, doesn't it? We were acting like idiots and destroyed the house, and Mum went, don't worry about that, I'm not going to punish you or teach you responsibility or accountability for your actions. Just get away with anything, love. You'll grow up into being an absolute criminal piece of scum. It's fine. If only there was a father in the picture, maybe he would have taught you some manners. There's a little bit of complaining because he never managed to get his ring back when he broke out of prison. I'm still not sure why they haven't just rearrested them. They're in their own home. It's not as if we don't know where they are.
The sheriff put us through hell.
No, she put you in prison where you belonged.
You want to smash heads against the sheriff again?
There's absolutely no way. You asked Robyn if she wants to smash and don't already know her answer.
You want to smash?
You want to tell me I'm crazy?
I think I've spent about 8 hours doing that. It's all recorded, love. You can go what?
I passed out a long time ago, but I'm still here.
Yeah, until she starts getting with Marion anyway. We know it's gonna happen. There's one episode left. This entire thing is just a rope-a-dope of everyone thinking they're gonna get with Little John, only to swing around at the end to the other side.
This is the story of representation, and it matters.
He's gonna get his little tiny heart crushed. At that moment, though, the police arrive. But rather than turning up to arrest all the people that escaped from a prison facility, instead they're saying, if you don't get out of here by tomorrow, you're all trespassing. We're not gonna go into things like basic law, or how an eviction notice must actually give warning, unless we're meant to assume they got the eviction notice and just sat around for a month doing nothing. Possible. They are that stupid.
You have until then to vacate the premises before you are
defenestrated.
removed.
Close enough.
You think they're up there?
Why have you got your hand on your gun, you lunatic? He's just standing around. Yeah, come on. Any of you try it. This is so on the nose, you might as well just hit someone in the face with a sledgehammer.
Think they'll go quietly?
God, I hope not.
So do I. I want us to go screaming into the void.
We be robbing.
The main question is how we're going to defend our homes by stealing again this week. Gonna rob a condom factory and just lay them around the building. Everyone's too busy banging to evict us.
Yo, I loaned this to you a year ago.
What?
Yo, I loaned this to you a year ago.
Pronunciate, my dear fellow.
You said you lost
I
it.
did lose it. Look at this place.
Why are you fussed about lending that to someone and not getting it? It looks awful. I don't even know what it's meant to be. Looks like a unicorn vomited on a pair of curtains.
Keeping this.
Why? You wear that, you'd look like a Saturday night game show host.
Hey, yo, you better be on your best behavior.
I can't understand what this guy's saying.
Hey, yo, you better be on your best behavior.
At least I could form the rest of the sentence from best behavior.
I'm at mama's house, okay? She needs...
I'm at mama's house. Well, they're packing all the stuff. Robyn turns up. He's like, hey, Robyn, can we really win this? It's like, you think Robyn's the best person to ask? Robyn hasn't had a good plan this entire series. Robyn's been arrested twice. Robyn couldn't even plan a pregnancy, let alone a crime. But Robyn doesn't know if they can fight because she's up against something that she's never faced before. The law. What, some guy actually owns this property and we can't just nick it? She'd stick the entire tower block in the back of her car and drive off if she could, but unfortunately, she can't fit that much junk in her trunk.
I'm gonna fight for every inch of this place.
And she knows a lot about taking inches.
We can't fight an army.
An army? You don't own the pissing building. Why don't you just leave the place that you have no right to be in? Notice how their very first instinct, the moment that someone comes along and goes, I own this, is, we're going to fight you physically. It's like, oh, how about morality, eh?
The Sherwood can.
Oh yeah, just get everybody to just come and violently assault people.
I've spent my life in the ether, staying one step ahead of those who wish to subdue me.
No, you haven't, mate. You've been playing Genshin Impact. Trying to make being on the internet into some kind of moral virtue. I've been in the ether cracking one out to a waifu. Let's not pretend you're not a degenerate.
The sheriff came close.
Just couldn't get you all the way.
She wounded me.
I had to yell, teeth! So they all nod their heads and agree with him. The sheriff's going to pay simply for enforcing the law and the legal ownership of a property by a person. And we're supposed to support this scum. But then at that moment, Little John's competition calls.
If I'd known that the sheriff was planning to kidnap you all, I would have...
What?
I don't know, she is a lawyer. Represented you, I guess?
Used us to get closer to Prince?
How is she supposed to use you to get to Prince? She's the one who's close to Prince. Prince seems to see her as a daughter, paid her entire way through college, and you're like, no, I'm closer to Prince than you are. Robyn just thinks the entire world revolves around her. But she says, I've gone through all the files that we took off his hard drive. There's too much financial information. I don't get it. But your guy who cracked the files, if he can work out what it is, maybe we can use that against them. And I'm like, you already did that. So they find out that you were getting paid from him.
But why can't you understand that?
Because I thought you cared.
I do.
So they're like, oh, let's smash tacos.
I care about you, Robyn.
Let's see if we can make our hoop earrings link together. It's gonna be like a magic trick. But then as she walks away, Robyn decides to get her friend in trouble for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Tuck.
Why did you tell her who he was?
My friend's name is Tuck.
Yeah, but why are you telling her that? This guy has spent years wiping out his identity from the internet, even burnt off his fingerprints, and then you're just like, I'm gonna tell everybody who you are.
Have you lost your reptilian-ass mind?
She didn't even need to know. You could have just asked him to do this on his own. Over to Tuck now, who is now pretending to type on a keyboard. So he's struggling to type because, well, I mean, look at his fingers. Like, I was a virtuoso when I could type in the air. But now we've been brought down to the realms of mere mortals.
Could feel the machine. It was...
No, you couldn't. You literally couldn't feel the machine. That's the entire point. You were typing in the air. You're actually feeling the machine when you're typing on a keyboard.
I can't believe I was off feeling sorry for myself while you and Robyn were being...
I can't believe I was feeling sorry for myself when there was this lunatic who thinks he's part of a computer network next to me.
If I'd known...
If I'd known you were this insane, I would have stayed outside.
I see now why Robyn likes you.
Because you're quite attractive and you've got a minge. Have another conversation. She's like, oh, she hates you. He's like, no, she really loves you. I can tell by her voice. Feeling that through the machine as well, have you?
The way she looks at you. And she even introduced you to me.
Yeah, I always get introduced to a buddies. At this point, it's a 24-hour job just trying to keep up. It's the only reason he's actually good at forensic accounting. He had to learn how to manage complex spreadsheets just to keep track. Okay, so that was Dave. He was involved with her for exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Never saw him again.
You're a surprising man, Tuck.
As you're incredibly surprising. I've never seen someone with this long a list of mental issues. So she says that Prince owns a load of areas and my father took me to them when I was a kid.
I thought they were just day trips, but maybe they were part of his project with Prince.
Maybe your father and Prince just happen to own real estate. Rich people have never owned property before. This is very suspicious. So she says he's been buying up real estate within an area all around these towers. And for some reason, they think that's a problem. Oh, this guy wants to develop an entire area rather than one tower block.
What you thinking?
I think I might know someone who can help, but I can't say more.
This isn't even is this the story? I expected you to come up with something better than this guy owns more property than we thought.
I got this data legally.
This actually doesn't matter if you got the data illegally. The fact that he owns these buildings will be a matter of public record. You can get the same information legally.
He's after more than just the towers. He's been lying to city council and the mayor.
I can't believe that somebody would actually want to make money. What a horrible state of affairs.
What you thinking?
Probably not a lot, actually. Has she even started yet? Are we sure she knows what that is? So she's like, I think I can know someone who will help, but I'm not going to tell you. Because if you know information, that's dangerous for you. We're just talking about land ownership, mate. This isn't a dangerous situation.
Can you trust me?
I wouldn't trust you as far as I can defenestrate you. So then, as Marion walks to the door... We literally just have Robyn checking her out on the way there. It's like, I mean, come on. This is mostly an emotional scene and she's just like, arse.
Robyn, Jill, we gotta talk about...
Glad she went through the door on her own this time rather than Robyn ramming her into the wall repeatedly. Stop ramming her into walls! Mum just comes in like, Robyn, stop asking me if I want to go for a walk. It's getting annoying.
I'm not hungry.
Maybe we could go for a walk or something.
But as she goes through, she finds out the Hood gang in her own house. I mean, my first words would be, I've got nothing to nick.
Hi, Jesse.
I want to play a game.
I was wondering when you'd show up.
It was only a matter of time until you tried to nick stuff from me as well, just like you've done everybody else in the building.
We need a fight for Sherwood.
And we've just built this incredible half pipe. We'd quite like to push you down it.
I don't work with anyone who won't show their faces.
And I prefer slides, not half pipes. But Robyn's like, oh, you want to see my face? Well, here it is, Mom.
I'm not going anywhere.
Well, you are, because you don't own the pissing building. I gotta say, you really should have ended this series on the final episode if this is how it's gonna go.
This is bad. This is really bad.
You had them getting arrested in a black site, electrocuted, a random rabbit, and Prince dancing. You can't top that. Getting the mum to do a few wheelies won't save you here.
You should have told me.
Less people know, the better.
I'm not people. I'm your mother.
Yeah, but seriously, how did you expect that conversation to go? By the way, me and my friends set up this gang, and we go round robbing people and shooting them in the face with bows. Oh, congratulations, daughter. You make me so proud.
It's the pear of anguish. It was used on women who had relations with the devil.
The only thing that should happen after telling your mother this is that she calls the police. You want to get a pair of handcuffs, because let's face it, with this mother, she definitely has handcuffs, and do a citizen's arrest.
Why do you think I did this?
That's a loaded question. Because you have low IQ, low morals, absolutely no respect for anyone else or their property, do not care who you hurt, damage, and have absolutely no respect for any other living human on this planet and the society that has been created that you were born into. Could have also said you're scum, you know, I mean, both works.
John Prince and the sheriff were trying to kill you.
It was once suggested on a phone call, but no one actually attempted to do it. Prince went to a hospital bed and didn't do anything.
Oh, you did something all right.
Yeah.
This is Robyn, she does everybody. Sorry, everything.
I did what you taught me.
I did what you taught me. I'm a whore. I'm a degenerate criminal who shouldn't be allowed to walk the streets.
Who taught you to steal?
Based economy.
The look on your face when you suddenly realise that everything wrong with your life is because of you. You could literally be on fire outside the tower block and not a single person would piss off their balcony. I mean, I made a lot of comments about Kit being evil in Willow, but at least she only didn't care about the apocalypse, compared to whatever this is.
Rich steal from us every day. I was just taking...
No. What do you even mean? You can't just make up BS and use it as an excuse for your rampant degeneracy. But the rich do all this imaginary stuff I've just made up in my own face. You buying products from businesses isn't the rich stealing from you, you piece of...
Taking some of it back.
Oh, give me a break.
I never thought the mum would actually come out and turn out to be the moral one. I mean, if the mum actually had morals, why didn't she teach any to a child?
I stood up for Sherwood.
You need to be in prison.
Could have been killed.
We spend our life living in hope.
My sweet, precious child.
Are you looking at the same person, or have we swapped talking about someone else? We're talking about the other daughter? There's nothing sweet or precious about her. She's like, we're talking like bottom of the bargain bin. You have to buy something else and they give it away free because no one will actually pay for it.
Robyn, I never want to see you get hurt. Do you understand?
I mean, that makes one of us.
It doesn't matter what happens to me.
Notice how she isn't actually concerned about the crime. Not what are you doing? You're actually damaging all of society, bringing down the entire city. You are literally causing violent crime where I live. It's like, no, I just don't want you to get hurt. I don't care about everyone else that you're hurting. Have you ever considered that this might be not about you?
You have kept me safe my whole life.
I'll try not to hold that against her in the future.
Given up everything for us.
Imagine giving up everything for Robyn. I mean, she's already in a wheelchair. I think she's suffered enough. You don't have to remind her of that. I gave up everything for you, and you just turned out to be a degenerate piece of shit.
For us to just give up on everyone when...
What do you mean give up? Stop stealing things! We're not gonna give up. If I want an iPhone, I'm gonna get an iPhone, even if I have to take it from a completely innocent person that absolutely just is going about their own business. I deserve the iPhone. Do you expect me to give up?
Just means that our stories are worth telling, and I think the success review-wise of our film shows that our stories are worth telling.
If I don't have a brand new pair of Nikes, what do you expect me to do?
I held a protest and they put a bullet in my spine.
That is not what happened. You engaged in house invasion and then just didn't hand yourself into the police, and so they had to defend themselves against you.
What are they gonna do to you?
I could draw up a quick list of ideas for them if you want. It's the finale. Let's get creative.
Trust me.
That is exactly the expression on my face if Robyn asked me to trust her. It's like, you have lost your pissing mind.
Listen to her, Mom.
You stay out of this, love. You're the only person in this entire show who might actually have a brain.
You knew?
We can do this.
Okay, maybe it's a bit presumptive on the brain.
We have to.
What on earth is going on with your trousers? Did you get them out of a skip or something? Yeah, so the look I'm going for is if I'm homeless and are trying to repair my own trousers out of bits that I've just found on the street.
People love the hood, but they follow you.
Which became a lot easier once you got paralyzed. Oh no! Did you not think of what this looks like when you framed it? I'm not being funny, but like, come on. I can't be the only one that sees it.
This feels like the last time we may see each other.
Suppose that depends on whether you can get any more taxpayer money for an unprofitable series. As it's taxpayer money, it's not as if they care about profit in the first place, really, is it? More about, do you think you've left enough of a cultural impact to destroy the morality of your nation, to actually be worthy the government paying you to do it again? Some may question why a person would want to do that in the first place, but I leave that to the people that did it.
People are leaving.
They sure are. Even Parrot Analytics doesn't deny that your audience is fleeing. You didn't have much to start with.
And the sheriff illegally detained our children.
No, the sheriff arrested you for crimes that you did commit. Like, if we leave, they win. So she keeps moaning that we can't leave this despite the fact that we don't own this building and they do. We're going to commit the biggest robbery of all time and we are going to steal this tower block. I don't know what's going on there. So she's like, look, the Hood behind me have committed so much crime before that the sheriff forgot who did it, and with our help, they can do it again. So she's coming up with a plan of how we can illegally stay in a building that we don't own.
We barricade the stairwells and every entrance.
It is literally like she thinks they're planning a war. You don't own this building. Piss off out of it.
We know Sherwood. She doesn't. Wherever she hits us, we get there first.
That's not how reality works. This is a tower block, not a four-dimensional maze. At most, you're gonna have a lift and a staircase. What is there to know?
Can't leave the back door open.
I'm not surprised Little John's concerned about a back door. Can't leave that open, love. Marion might climb in it. So they start getting all the people together to literally barricade the building that none of them have a right to be in. Why am I supposed to support this? This is literally just viewing things from the villain's perspective. So they start barricading the doors to their own houses. Either people are in those rooms, so now they can't get out, or you're just locking yourself out of your own houses. Also, why is this guy drilling me in the face? They set up the cameras for this guy to watch, and they are making biological weapons.
Is that
Homemade pepper spray.
You need to all go to prison for life. And I mean, like, never get out. All of you. Every single one in this building.
It's like Mom used to make.
Like, you can't be allowed in society after this.
So grab a hammer and start nailing doors shut.
But you're gonna hit someone in the face with it, so at least thank God for small mercies.
There are more like us. A lot more.
Okay, we'll just build a new prison and send you where you belong forever. So Robyn drags her out and she's like, are you insane?
Crazy?
I rescue you from the sheriff and this is the thanks.
You drove a car to a door. Let's not pretend that you're a degenerate piece of scum like the rest of them, although it looks like that's the way you're going, I guess.
Alternate title would be Dad Issues.
I can't believe this is a story. It's genuinely blowing my mind that this is a story.
We rescued us. You just gave us a ride.
I'm glad the show at least realizes its own plot. It's genuinely more than I was expecting, to be honest. I don't know why no one's asked her what her plan was, apart from drive a bus up to a door and then wait.
You do this, you'll get hurt, maybe killed.
So then why are you risking your lives for a building that you don't own and have no right to be in? So she says, you are gonna do exactly what I tell you, and they come up with a name for themselves.
Can we call ourselves the Hoodies?
If you need ideas for names, I've got a few others. So then Much says, look, I've got a present for you. Here it is.
A stick.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, we make a foldable bow. What's wrong with an actual normal bow? Also, why are we so pleased that we've just made a bow? When were bows invented? 9000 BC. Much is literally impressed with herself because she managed to build something that we've had for 11,000 years. For my next trick, I'm going to invent the wheel. Although there is a problem, and this is why they had to cut it. See if you can spot the flaw in her design. Did you notice something missing? There's no string attached to the end of the bow, nor is there any string attached to the other end of the bow. And so when she flips it out, we have to cut it because someone had to attach the string to either end and bend it around. What is the advantage to a foldable bow if you have to string it before you can fire it? That's the time-consuming part of a bow. We had to cut out the 2 minutes where I'm desperately trying to string it together.
When you stole from Prince was like a million years old, so
I made one, and for some reason I made it so it could fold for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And then she's invented what looks like explosive arrows. Perfect, you've invented more lethal weaponry for me to use against the sheriff, who's only trying to impose the law against our criminal underworld. Don't you dare. She's pretending she's religious. Oh, I'm gonna hold on to my cross. Well, like, go round and try to steal from people. That's literally one of the 10 commandments, you miserable cow. Don't pretend you're religious.
It was used on women who had relations with the devil.
Or pray. Oh, please, Father, if you could allow me to commit crime, attack innocents, and get my daughter to murder people who do not deserve it, then I'll be forever grateful as you give me the stolen property that I don't deserve. Were you praying to a dead criminal? Everyone thought that was a Christian cross, but instead, it was to Jesus of Lionheart. What was it? Was it an upside down cross? I mean, he like literally went out and murdered people. He used to run gangs and stuff. He's like, I'm so grateful that you've summoned me here from my fiery pit of hell.
Like we're the victims. Feel bad for us. That's what that is.
I turned it upside down. I pray to the god of theft and misery. I don't even know what the show is anymore. I mean, this show is devoid of any humanity. He's like, oh, I'm hallucinating. Don't put your... I would freak out. Imagine closing your eyes and then this hallucinatory dead man puts his hand on your shoulders and you're like, oh my God. He's either a zombie come to eat my brains or I'm having some kind of seizure. Wait, was there more between you two? No, he's not. No, he can't be their father. That'd be weird. Daddy. So she's like, oh, I was hallucinating, but someone knocked on my door and now the hallucinations vanish. Are we supposed to think that she's psychologically sound after that's just happened? You're not Mary, love. At this point, it's probably demonic possession. The only thing that could explain your daughters. Why does he still have a V cut out of his... I don't understand his hair. Like he's trying to get the night tick in his afro.
You have a lovely home, Miss Loxley. Let's...
No, she doesn't, because it's not hers. You've stolen a lovely home. I'm glad I could trespass inside it with you.
You'll be streaming from every platform from here to Mercia and beyond.
Yeah, mate, that's how the internet works. Did you just walk into her house and go, well, Miss Loxley, you know, Facebook and Twitter, you'll never understand the internet, but it can actually get transmitted more than a couple of miles.
Let's show them we won't go quiet.
I don't care whether you go quiet or not, as long as you go, mate. Good over now to the mayor meeting Marion. Maybe they're gonna go at it as well, I don't know. She's like, you can't allow him to have the tower because he also owns other land. I'm like, I still don't know what the point of this is.
Prince is a property developer. This isn't that unusual.
Thank you. Finally, the first person in this entire episode to say something that makes sense. And Marion's just like, there's a scandal here. It's like, no, he isn't. He's just a guy who owns property. He's allowed to. You absolutely insane lunatic. The rest of them can go to prison. Marion can go to a padded cell, along with me by the end of this episode.
We'll go to the press.
I don't care where you go. As long as you go somewhere and it's off my screen.
We can take Prince to court.
Take him to court for what? He just owns some buildings. I know this might be strange for you, the idea that somebody could buy property and actually legally own it because you've never owned anything of your own in your sad little life because you're so busy stealing it from people who earn things and work for a living. But for the rest of us, property rights actually kind of important. And it turns out Marion's got backstabbed and he's already waiting for her with two guys who I'm hoping will arrest everybody.
Those people trusted you. They trusted you.
Yes, and the rest of the city trust the mayor to enforce the law against your criminal friends. Over to the police now, and I don't even know why we have to keep seeing the fact that they bang in the office. It's a weird obsession that directorx has got, but you know, each to their own.
You going soft on me?
Oh, fair enough. I didn't know she was that kind of woman.
Sherwood. The Hood.
No, you didn't. Is he your self-insert? The guy who shot the mom in the first episode? There is no way that's not a self-insert. I guess we've just found out why these scenes are important to him. Just found out his particular tastes.
Think about your groin area.
So they're talking about Sherwood as now you can't get too attached with him. He says as he's checking his gun is loaded. She sees that, goes to fetch Lionheart's ring, and gives it to him. Because obviously she knows that'll wind up little John. And we'll just get a repeat of episode 1. That's you getting set up, mate.
I belong to you.
100% a self-insert. I will never be convinced otherwise now. Not after the hand. So he's talking to Marion about her father. This scotch was given to him. It's a powerful gesture by a kind man.
It's too bad the apple's fallen so far from the tree.
100%. This is the hero talking to the villain. I just don't know why this show is following it from the villain's perspective. He's like, look, I made you comfortable. I gave you all this money and all you've done is screw me over.
You never cared about me.
He was giving you money. He put you through college. He made sure you were comfortable and could live a life without anyone to provide for you. And like, you never cared for me. You just gave me everything that I own.
You were covering your tracks.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't covering... Oh my... You're not a track. You insane lunatic. He owed you nothing. Have some respect for the man who gave you everything.
And you killed him.
Your father killed himself.
You may not have pulled the trigger.
What an insufferable bint. You killed my father. No, he did it to himself. I agree. So then he had nothing to do with it. You've just admitted it.
Your phone.
Your phone! We're supposed to think that he's the bad guy. Please, don't have him shout at the criminal. He's just treating her with the complete and utter lack of respect she deserves. The same amount of respect she's shown him. Your phone! We should be like, oh, well, she can say whatever she wants to him. But the moment he shows her the same lack of respect back, that's a step too far. Only the criminals can do that, not the hero. So he destroys her phone. And to be fair, I mean, he's the one who paid for it, so not really her phone, is it? It's his property. Over to Little John and Robyn, and he's setting up a med station. They're literally setting it up as if it's a war. Just leave the property that you don't own. This isn't complicated.
Feels like the end of the world, doesn't it?
Oh, you've been destroying civilization for 8 weeks. I've kind of lost track.
If we're gonna win, we gotta do this
Doesn't
right.
matter if we win. It matters that we fight.
The only morality these people have is literally, it doesn't matter if we win. It matters that we attempted to be criminals. As long as we're evil, that's what counts. This is like making a TV show from the perspective of Vlad the Impaler and trying to make him seem like the good guy.
And next time they try to come for people like us.
You mean people like you, degenerate thieves that don't deserve to be free, people with absolutely no morals, life skills, or even a base of common decency. I could go on, but please, elucidate me.
They'll think twice.
They'll think twice when the sheriff comes to arrest criminals. And then we go over to the master on the wall who taught them everything they know. So then they start crying, and I don't know why, because they're the ones causing all of this. You could quite easily avoid it all just by obeying the law and leaving the property that you have no right to be in.
I'm very sorry to interrupt. We have a problem.
The jar is empty. When everyone found out they've only got an hour left to live, we didn't know what else to do. So he says, I put a tracking app on Marion's phone, found out what happened to her. She's like, we've got to go and rescue her.
Robyn, wait.
She could die.
I mean, hopefully. After all of this effort, somebody's got to, surely. And Little John's like, you can't leave. The sheriff could come in, and how on earth are we supposed to slaughter the innocent people who are trying to enforce the law without you? So Little John decides to go instead, so that he can save the person who's going to steal his girl from him. And I can't help but think he's got something else in mind.
You care about her.
He sees the potential there. I mean, he's going to deny it.
Let me do the hero thing.
Yeah, let me do the hero thing, and then I'm essentially going to have buy one, get one free.
Got enough balls to handle here.
What? Yeah, I'm as surprised as you, mate. I thought she could handle any amount of them. The sheriffs are counting down to the time when they're supposed to leave and putting Captain McShooty on the perimeter. Anyone who leaves, arrest them, which is a very different attitude from the people inside the building who are just like, anyone who comes in, we're going to kill you. Again, we're really showing the difference in morality between the criminal scum and the sheriff.
Any remaining residents will be forcibly removed and taken into custody.
Meanwhile, in there, they've got explosive arrows and homemade gas. It's like, we need to jam their comms.
I want those towers blind, deaf, and dumb.
Just like Robyn. So they enter the building, and of course all the doors have been barricaded. It turns out they were literally barricading people inside their own homes. No, I say their own homes. I mean, the homes they're illegally occupying that they have no right to be in. Now, if he really wanted the sheriffs to be shown as evil, then he should have just had them set fire to the building and watch the rats run out.
That's perfect.
It's occupied.
So is a dumpster if you count the rats.
Economy.
Now, inside, though, obviously, we've got the pineapple on pizza loving cretins, and they've got an interesting idea. It's a very strategic battle plan. Yeah, they barricaded the door with an ironing board, which ironically in that house is the first time the ironing board has ever been used. So they see the sheriff through the door and attack her with a chemical weapon. Again, we're supposed to think that they're the good guys in an unprovoked armed attack against people enforcing the law. So then Robyn turns up with her newfangled arrows, and it turns out to be another gas arrow, before they also run in and attack them with even more. Should I point out that the sheriff, who's supposed to be the villain, that's what directorx said, was entirely passive and neutral, and then walked into an unprovoked armed attack by criminals. You have to defend your own life in this situation. You're getting attacked by armed thugs. So while the criminal underworld is attacking innocent victims, they've also decided to get the mother to broadcast live across the platforms, telling everybody about the criminal actions that they've been doing.
I'm a mother, a Sherwooder, a survivor.
A cretin with absolutely no moral sense of direction at all.
And most of all, I'm one of you.
Is everyone in the area criminal scum? I didn't know.
Not be dragged from our homes.
They're not your homes, you don't own them.
We will not back down. Do you hear me, Sheriff?
Let's just bring in the army.
Sherwood stands.
But you don't, love. Stop ramming her into walls! Make a special slide for you off the top of the building. Would you like to go for a walk?
Your mother is paralyzed from the waist down.
Mom, oh my God. Maybe we could go for a walk or something.
So while this is going on, Little John leaves, and I think he's been playing Assassin's Creed. This guy is out on the perimeter, and I mean, seriously, can you make it any more obvious? He is literally just walking around with his hand on his weapon all the time. It's a bit on the nose. And at that moment, he sees somebody leaving.
Red cab, stop.
What?
Let him go.
Yeah, but why? I can only assume at this moment she's trying to save that guy's life because she knows if he goes after him, he'll shoot him, and she doesn't want him to shoot him. Remember, this is supposed to be the villain.
I have another job for you.
Is the red light meant to make her look even more evil? Back in Prince's house, and Marion sees a knife and thinks, oh yeah, I need that. So she stores that behind, and I'm like, what are you all doing? You literally have these innocent people, and all that you're doing is grabbing knives and attacking them for absolutely no reason. He starts telling her the eviction's going ahead, they're putting up a fight, but, you know, we'll get him eventually. He keeps interrogating her about who she's talked to about the building that he owns. I don't know why he cares. You're allowed to own buildings.
Not that it matters. Dad never thought it would work, did he?
But what would work? How are we this far into the show and we still don't know why he's meant to own the buildings? Is the end of the story literally that he just owns some buildings? Are you that much of a degenerate that you just think owning property is innately evil? Which would be rather ironic, considering that the guy that wrote this is very wealthy. He's done very well for himself, and I have no problem with that. It seems like he does. But she says, I just want to know that it's not just a development scheme. It's like, okay then, come with me. And finally, most of the way into the episode, we might finally find out there might be a plot. He says, by tonight, I will own everything from Sherwood Tower to the lake.
You're gonna evict a quarter of the city?
Oh, God, no. That would take ages. Accidents happen, barriers break, lakes flood.
This is an even more stupid plan than I expected. The only way you can try and make him seem evil is because he's going to water damage entire areas to get the people out. If he was going to flood them, he didn't have to evict anyone in Sherwood either. And if he was going to make them flood, it would be cheaper to buy the land after they'd all been water damaged. Why was he buying it at the premium price and then flooding it? If he was that evil, he would have flooded it first and then bought it after it had already been destroyed. Would have been way cheaper and easier.
Every castle needs a moat.
He's like, I'm just going to build a new city. You could do that without flooding areas. Is it Dubai that builds those mega cities for the rich anyway? Like, this is already done. Why did he need it happening there?
Do you know how many people would die?
Hundreds.
Which, to be fair, is still less than the Hood gang will kill if they're not arrested.
Why would their deaths mean anything?
Have you noticed that all of his evil lines are just ADR'd in and you never see him say them? It's almost like the plot of this was written afterwards. You knew you needed to make him evil, but you couldn't work out how, so you've got him to ADR all of them in afterwards. Oh, I just want to build a city for the rich.
You're insane.
No.
No, everybody you know is insane. This has come entirely out of left field for absolutely no reason whatsoever, just because we're desperately trying to make the good guy appear like the bad guy.
The world is insane.
Based economy.
The Hood are just a taste of what's coming.
I mean, if I had those degenerates on my back doorstep, I'd want to build an impregnable city to get away from them as well.
Peasants have forgotten their place, and when they do, they always come after people like me. They always have.
I mean, that is legitimately true. That is exactly what's happened. He was just floating along, buying some property, and then the Hood gang came for him.
But I'm not just going to survive this revolution, I'm going to profit from it.
It almost seems like the Hood started this. It's like, look, I've got to get rid of these people after they've been making my life a living hell.
Kings of the past built fortresses to keep the barbarians out. I'm just thinking a little bit bigger.
It's just difficult to feel sorry for the people of Sherwood after all of the crap they pulled over the last 7 weeks, and are still pulling.
You must hate your father for abandoning you, taking the easy way out.
You drove him to it.
He didn't do anything. Your father did it to himself. We've already been over this. Stop repeating stuff that's already been disproven.
Father just decided that a few dead peasants was worth more than our friendship.
None of this works. Like, none of it. This guy has been great the entire series, and now you're like, Carl, we've got to find some way to try and pretend it's evil.
You can see how his death weighs on you, which is why people will understand when you follow in his footsteps.
So then he starts picking up a sword, and like, there's no way. There is no way that he would just pick up a sword and attack her with it. And yet, despite that, she attacks him first with hers. Looks like he was right to grab a sword to defend himself from the evil murderous cow.
You first.
See? He was just waiting for opportunity. The moment that guy turns his back, I'm gonna stab him in the back of the neck. It just proves he was right to go for the weapon. It's like, what exactly is your plan here? You're gonna march me to a council and say that all of the stuff that I ADR'd in afterwards that no one would believe actually was true? Of course, she didn't realize, he's got bodyguards because he needs them. The Hood are constantly trying to murder him. Of course he's got bodyguards. So they just grab her. And then in comes Little John with his stick.
I'm sorry, sir.
I've come to save you. Evil sticks together. It'd be so funny if the bodyguards just pulled out a gun and shot him. They're like, you've clearly never seen Indiana Jones. So then the sheriff sends in the gun-toting maniac, who's going through the halls acting like he's playing a Max Payne game.
They don't care if you're good or kind or smart.
How would you know that? They've never met anyone who has that description. Like, they don't know anyone who's filthy and degenerate and a complete piece of crap who never obeys the law.
We're just cattle to them.
To be fair, cattle's useful for something.
They'll eat us alive, then they'll come for the rest of you.
They're not going to eat you. They're not that desperate.
Because men like Prince can never be satisfied.
Now, rather stupidly, she decided to broadcast this from her own flat. And so he knew the exact one to go to, and they hadn't barricaded the door.
They don't care if you're good or kind or smart.
Robyn, smart as always. What a great plan.
Be stopped.
Honey, I'm home.
I mean, what's he gonna do? Make her paralyzed again?
Don't come any closer.
Am I supposed to feel sorry for her? She tried to murder him.
So you want to go out that way?
That was the least intimidating thing I've ever seen. He's got a knife to her neck, and you just twiddled a stick around for a bit. What? Why did he just let her go?
Then maybe we should end this now.
She's a violent murderous psychopath. Why did you let her go?
I came for you, not for that.
So Little John's like, look, I came for you, not to have you slaughter an innocent person. She barely restrains her violent, murderous instincts, and it's like all of you just need to be locked away forever. Just a danger to society.
Come after me, and I will show the world who the real John Prince is.
Well, we've already seen the real you lunatic. Good job you can't rule a country and turn into the next Stalin. So the criminals make their getaway. During all of this, for some reason, I'm supposed to think that he's the bad guy. They start arranging people in their defense so that they can violently assault all of the innocent people.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Well, we've seen who she is.
You know how many scumbags I put away?
Well, there's a lot more in this building, so why don't you get at it? There's plenty of work for you to do.
Yeah, you're a real hero.
Well, he's not the one that Sherwood Tower wanted, but he is the one that they deserve.
Let's finish what we started.
What? He didn't do anything! What are you doing? He's just standing there. He is literally just standing there, doing absolutely nothing. He has made not a single aggressive or threatening move during this entire thing, and yet Robyn comes in, just shoots him in the back. She violently assaults with a lethal weapon a sheriff for absolutely no reason. I'm supposed to think this is the good guy. You can't just go around shooting sheriffs with a bow and arrow, you nutter. She was gonna shoot him again. Anything he does now is self-defense. You attacked him. So he disarms her by taking her arrows away. Shows her the Lionheart ring, which makes her go Super Saiyan. Where she starts to continue assaulting the innocent sheriff. You shot him with a bow and arrow, fully entitled to do anything at this point that it takes to end the threat and take you into custody. So in this fight, he's the one in the right. So the mum starts crawling along the floor. He manages to make sure that Robyn isn't a threat anymore. Admittedly, he probably enjoyed it a little bit too much. And rather than putting her in handcuffs, he walks off and he starts spinning a story. Tressie Loxley killed by the leader of the Hood.
I mean, the sheriff wanted it to look good, but this...
The reach you are going to, just to desperately try and make these people look bad, is astonishing. This has come out of nowhere. He could just arrest all of you, legitimately, and send you to prison for decades. And you're like, no, we've got to somehow make him seem bad. So actually, he wants to murder them. And I am more grateful for that than you will ever know. How have you managed to change this in quality from the episode 7 to this? Episode 7 was like it was written by an insane genius. Whereas this is written by somebody who thinks a bouncy castle is the height of technological innovation. Somebody who thought that you can fold up a bow. No one will notice the string wasn't on it. And so she looks over and it turns out, oh, I plugged the laptop in. And he's been live admitting that he was going to murder all of them, which he didn't even need to do, and I don't know why he did. It doesn't even fit in with the characters. We had to make him arbitrarily say something that didn't make any sense, just so it could get broadcast live. Also, you do realize that wouldn't change anything, right? Because Prince still owns the building and they have no right to be there. So it doesn't matter if this one guy, or even the sheriff, as well as this one guy, wanted to kill anybody. The law still holds. So he decides, I don't care. If I'm going to prison, I might as well take you with me. But of course, Robyn jumps up behind him and hits him over the back of the head. At no point did she wonder, if I hit him over the back of the head, will his finger, like, squeeze the trigger or anything? I'd like to point out that directorx said we were stupid for laughing at that thing. Nobody could possibly find that funny.
It's the principle of the thing.
While in the same series, repeatedly using it as a joke himself. But no, nobody else could find that funny. Stop laughing at it, you look goofy. I don't know if that is meant to be an advertisement for Apple, but I also highly doubt they would want their brand attached to that jar. So they start acting as if they've won. You haven't won anything. You're still criminals occupying a building you don't own.
What do we do with him? We win.
What do you mean you win? You don't own the building you're staying in. I don't know what this is meant to change. You've got one cop who said he was going to kill someone after they started trying to murder him.
You're pure evil.
And you're just another man taking credit for a woman's work.
They're like, oh, we won. This guy went too far in self-defense against people that were trying to murder him.
And all shall be revealed.
They tried to murder him. So then the sheriff sees it. And I mean, nothing would happen to her because he said, well, the sheriff wanted it to look good. Absolutely no proof. So he's done. Like, he's completely in trouble. Lock, stock, two smoking barrels. No one else is. Over to the ambulance now. He wakes up with the sheriff hanging over him.
We're about to head to the hospital. You're gonna be okay.
I'm kind of surprised she allowed him to wake up, to be honest.
There will be an inquiry.
Sorry.
I just couldn't withhold my bloodlust after they shot me with a lethal weapon.
But disappointed.
You tried your best.
Is this meant to be like the worst Romeo and Juliet story ever?
Can we get a minute, please?
Oh no, is she actually going to kill him?
I just wish there was something I could do.
You could die. You do realise, right? The paramedic was there. He knew he'd be fine. You just said he'd be fine. If he drops dead in the next 30 seconds after everyone knows he's going to be fine, you're definitely going to prison. There's nothing on you right now. So she whispers something into him, jabs him, and he seizes. Like, where on earth has any of this come from? This is literally for 7 episodes. Here are the heroes. And then the last one, we're just going to get him to do a load of off-the-wall crap to desperately try and convince you that you should have been supporting the degenerates all this time.
Hey, help!
This episode has been the most ransom nonsense out of the entire series. This might be the worst series finale of anything I've seen. No sense compared to the rest of the series. Everyone's just changed. I was taking the piss that they thought they'd won, but no, they generally think they've won. They think it's over. You don't own that building.
Least the city could do is send in a cleanup crew.
The cleanup crew? I'd send in a tank. It's not your pissing house.
It's a mess, but at least it's our mess.
No, it isn't. It's your mess. It's not your house. Why aren't you evicted?
And what if the city decides to sell the towers to someone else?
What? The city don't own the building. The building was sold to Prince. Prince owns the building. Prince still owns the building. I know you don't care about property rights, but they still exist.
Then they'll have to go through me.
Oh yeah, that'll be difficult. What are you gonna do? Put the brakes on? You're defeated by a flight of stairs. You're like a Dalek, just without any of the intelligence, technology, or weaponry.
How you feeling? A lot better, now that I know you'll never put that damn mask on again.
That's wishful thinking. If you think she can stop thieving, you've got another thing coming. Need I remind you, you all live in a stolen house.
When did I ever say that?
I'm not gonna stop being criminal scum. What, you think I've got morals?
Turn that music up.
Oh, so you like this now?
Nobody likes this. There isn't a person in the entire world who likes this.
It's grown on me.
Yeah, it's grown on you like a fungus. This show wasn't made for me. So in comes the lawyer, who you would think would at least have some kind of passing problem with a load of scroungers living in a house that they've stolen. But no. She's like, no, I want to bump uglies, so I don't care what laws you break, despite the fact I'm a lawyer.
Hey, do you want...
Could we please humiliate little John after he saved my life? Well, stopped me murdering somebody else, as your life was never in danger.
Tuck told me what happened.
Yeah, you both randomly entered somebody else's house and tried to murder the person who owned it. What are you going to do, start trying to live in that as well?
Said he called the hood?
I guess I owe them my life.
Well, they kept you out of prison for murder. They didn't save your life, though.
I really thought Prince was going to kill me.
What gave you that idea? Was it when you put a knife to the back of his head? Is that when you felt in danger?
Another case of a man taking credit for a woman's work.
Then Robyn starts holding her hand.
When I thought I was going to die, I thought of you.
I thought, I wish you were here instead, love. If I'm only going to have one dying wish, it was that I wish I could take you with me. If I can only help the world in one way on my way out, it's to make sure that you go with me. So then they go at it. Little John walks around the corner and sees them together. And he's like, I don't know whether I wish I hadn't saved you before, or whether I'm so glad I did and can I please watch. It's like, he doesn't know. He's torn, you see.
Nothing's fine, I'm torn. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor.
This is one of those philosophical conundrums that you're not quite sure you have an answer to yet.
Let's just throw in a party.
Can I join?
Everyone's invited.
He's really mad that he wasn't invited. I came to invite you to my party, and you never invited me to yours. Then our hero, who's been violently assaulted and threatened with murder within his own house multiple times throughout the series, is understandably pissed. Unfortunately, he's not dancing at the end of this episode. I'm like, we're never going to transcend that peak of entertainment anymore. Unless I will also accept the mayor dancing instead of the cop. He says everyone's talking about Tressie Loxley. No one wants a part of this mess. It's like, that's fine. He owns the building anyway. He can just eject them.
Sherwood stays public.
He already bought it.
I will sue the city for breach of contract.
Thank you.
And we'll investigate your ties to the sheriff.
He doesn't have any ties to the sheriff. It's a sheriff. He's allowed to contact the sheriff when people keep breaking the law in his house.
Share her insights into your business dealings.
You mean owning Are you threatening him because he owns property? We're gonna find out you own a house. I can't believe you had 8 episodes and you couldn't even work out a plot. And so he comes up with a new plan.
I've decided to run for the mayor of New Nottingham. I'll have your job by next year.
About time.
If you want something done right,
get a man to do it.
You're joking.
Why would he be joking? You're his competition. I'm pretty sure I could run and beat you, because you've achieved nothing for this city. You've done absolutely nothing the entire series. So she walks off, pissed, and as this is never going to get a season 2, not unless the indoctrination is worth it anyway for the taxpayer, I'm just going to assume he wins, ejects everyone out of Sherwood Tower, and we all live happily ever after as they get fired into the ocean. Meanwhile, the degenerates are having a party. Little John is still pissed that he wasn't invited to watch. She gives him back Lionheart's ring.
go.
Well, she tried to murder a bloke and then mugged him. Look, if she owns anything, just assume it's nicked.
Guys, something's happening.
Oh, awesome. Is it a fire? Please say it's a fire. But no, it's the sheriff doing a press conference saying that the cop died from injuries that the Hood inflicted on him.
Let me be perfectly clear. The Hood are not heroes.
I think anyone who's watched this series has grasped that, love. Don't have to tell me twice.
They are thieves and now killers, and I will bring them to justice.
I mean, the killers know, but she did attempt to murder him. The only reason she didn't kill him is because she's completely inept. But it wasn't for lack of trying. She did shoot him with an arrow and tried to do it again.
As of this moment, the Hood are wanted for murder.
Based economy. And they're like, oh no, please don't try and arrest us for something we've actually done. I don't want any consequences for my genuine actions. You get what you deserve. I don't know what that was. That was, he must genuinely think he's got a season 2 to end the series like that, right? Maybe he knows something that nobody else on the face of the planet knows. Maybe he's got all of that government tax revenue already lined up. Maybe the messaging is worth it. Because when it's taxpayer money rather than your own on the line, you don't have to worry about making a profit. The amount of people that watch it, kind of not the point. Did enough people consume the message? But as far as the last episode goes, I don't know how this managed to somehow take such a step down in quality from episode 7. We go from what was clearly the height of the series to this, where you couldn't even come up with a plot. All this time you've been building up to him doing in some secret dealings. And it turns out it was like you suddenly got to the end and went, oh, by the way, this is the hero. We need to make him look really bad. You still failed. Because people just kept going after him and trying to kill him. You did exactly the same thing with the sheriff. Out of nowhere, she's just been enforcing the law, and out of nowhere, now we're just murderers. All to try and make it so that nobody else could point out the obvious truth. That the Hood are the evil people, the sheriff was the hero, and you're like, no, just make her do something really out of character and over the top, so that nobody could claim it anymore. Sneak it in the last few minutes of the episode. Completely out of the blue, completely out of character, in a desperate attempt to make the criminals seem like the victims, despite the fact that they're all occupying homes which they don't own. And so if this doesn't get a season 2, I'm just going to give it my own happy ending. That they all get arrested and sent to prison for the rest of their sad little miserable lives, which after the amount of crimes I've been forced to sit through and watch them do in this series is no less than they deserve. Well, those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Let the video if you like video, subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.